What's up, guys? This is Entertainment Angel here. I'm here to talk about the new leaks that came out for the upcoming Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix show. To be brief, I am looking forward to this show that is coming out next month of the time of this recording. I am a big fan of the 2005 TV show. I thought that was a phenomenal show overall. But here I'm going to be discussing two details about this upcoming Netflix show, along with the posters that just came out yesterday. So I heard that the showrunner talk, talked to Games Radar, and he did talk about some scenes that are going to be portraying in the show. The first that wasn't in the 2005 TV show. The first detail would be that in the 2005 TV show, they talked about the start of the Hundred-Year War. They talked about how the Fire Nation wiped out the air nomads. And based on what we're seeing, and it does look like it's a big possibility that that we're gonna see how it's gonna get portrayed once once it comes to fruition. The showrunner said the original series never shows the Fire Nation attacking the Southern Air Temple, and that's something we do see in our version. So this looks actually. So I will give you my opinion on this in a moment. I do want to first talk about the second detail that I've heard about, which is about Princess Azula from the Fire Nation, Prince Zuko's little sister, who was the main antagonist of season two, and was and of course continued to be our antagonist in the final season as well. What the showrunner has says, I'm gonna get his quote out right now. The showrunner said, "We know how big a character Azula becomes in the series, so we had the benefit of hindsight in fleshing out her character and being able to tell a story with her in season one. And we all knew that there were things we wanted to change, but not just for the sake of change. There had to be a reason for the change." So my thoughts on both the attack of the air nomads and Princess Azula. The so first off with the Sozin's comment, that actually looks really exciting. I think that part is going to be really good to show what went down and the fight scene. So I am leaning more on the positive sides than the negatives. Of course, us knowing what happened in the show and seeing it come to fruition could bring a lot, but as well, it could be a negative because it could just come off more disappointing than it ended up being. A really good example for actually is from Netflix. If you guys saw the very first season of The Witcher, which I thought overall season one was pretty good for what it was. In the books, we don't see the Battle of Sodden Hell, but in the actual show, we do see it play out, and it was nowhere near as good as I thought it would be, since we saw it as that big battle in the Witcher book series. That gets mentioned throughout, but it was and I thought it was underwhelming. I'm not sure what you guys thought. You guys might have your own opinions. So that part is something you have to play aspect in. But something tells me, based on what's gonna happen in this, that this is gonna be a really good, that we're gonna be on track for. It's Let me start over. What I meant to say is it might be on the right track to make sure that we see how brutal the Fire Nation is. I think that's where it's gonna lean when we see. But once the comes out, we will see how it was. And now with Princess Azula's backstory, that is another thing I want to talk. talk about. Um, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it because on one hand, Azula was a great character in Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought it was just going to be a flashback, and if they're going to show it to be a flashback to to talk to show with what happened with Zuko and his banishment of the Fire Nation, I think that works. That's fine. But I think this could be but I do see it more. And if it is just more of a backstory and more of a backstory, that's fine. Because for two reasons, it could take away the. It could. I feel like it could take away General Zhao and Prince Zuko's spotlight. When we see those two, who are supposed to be the main antagonists of season one, but we shall, but hopefully not, because in book two when Azula came along, Zuko was on a path to redemption. Of course, we know how season two ended up playing out towards the end of that chapter, but still, and Zhao was not in it because of what happened in season at the end of season one. But this can really take away. And another thing is when we finally get to see Azula for the first time towards the end of book one, when the Ozai said, "Iroh is a traitor and your brother Zuko is a failure. I have a task for you," and we see Azula with that intense look, showing more of her in the showing more of her in the background in season one could take that away, and that part is a little concerning. But you never know what can happen. So I would say to sum up my thoughts on both of them, Sozin's comment I leaned more positive. There there can be some concerns, but I think that's more of a good thing. Azula being more into this show is more mixed, but we shall see when the actual show comes out. Now, another thing that I want to talk about are the posters that they released yesterday where they showed Avatar, Aang, Katara, Sokka, and our main antagonist Zuko. So let's start off with Aang. I would say that this, as a poster showing Aang, it does look like a really good poster. There were some people that did say that they brought up a really good point that could be a concern is that the costumes do look very clean. And because if you've seen in because maybe they should look a little more like they were beaten, that they were traveling. If you've seen something like The Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, the costumes looks like they're worn out, like they were traveling. They're not clean, but here it does look clean. But I mean, Aang was frozen in a block of ice for 100 years, and it looks this clean. That is a fair concern, but that's a whole nother discussion for another time. As a poster, I think this is a really good. I think this looks like a really good poster. It looks like Aang is ready to kick some butt. And the second one that I want to discuss is Katara. This is really good. I initially thought this was be more to represent what's happening in the North Pole, but we do see this igloo right here. So what this tells me is this is more in the Southern Warrior tribe, which is where Katara is from. But during that time, Katara wasn't very good at waterbending like she was towards the end of season one, and for books two and three when she was able to master the element. But as a poster, it does look really good, and the water effects does look really good. I do like the water effects that it does show. And the next one, Sokka. So the background here, it does look like like it takes place in Omashu. No, not Omashu. Kyoshi Island. Just where they're gonna go, and they're gonna see Suki, which is his love interest in the animated series. This is a good. This is a good pose. I like what I'm seeing here. Sokka getting ready to kick some butt with his boomerang. Hopefully, this. So, so I do approve of this. The last one that I want to discuss is Zuko of the Fire Nation. This is my least favorite of the four posters that we saw. It does look like Zuko is more menacing. I don't know. I see him more as a menacing, as like he's menacing, more sadistic. Which Zuko is very angry in season one of Avatar, but it's not that he's sadistic by any means. He's a good person. He has a good heart, but he was put into a wrong path because he tried to show a heart and he got banished from the Fire Nation. So, and especially since if you look at the background, I know this could look like it's from the Fire Nation, but I think this, which it could be, I could, but I see this more as from Kyoshi Island when Zuko attacked the Kyoshi Island looking for the Avatar. But he wasn't doing this because he wants to hurt. He wants to hurt these people. He wants to hurt. He wants to hurt the village. He's here for the Avatar. If the Avatar surrenders themselves, which you saw much earlier in the anime series, Zuko will surrender. To be fair, that is how the Fire Nation is as well for the most part. But it seems like with Zuko, it's more he has a good heart. Another thing I want to point out, I know in the trailer it did show that he has an eyebrow by his scar. I am not the biggest fan of that because when Zuko he got burnt. The scar fell out. How did that? Because he got burned with fire. How did that scar? How did that eyebrow still stay? It doesn't make much sense. It really doesn't. And the scar, I think, should be more. If you ask me right now what I think of the scar, it obviously looks a lot better than it did in the 2010 movie. I haven't seen the 2010 movie, so I can't. But I've heard overall the movie was terrible. But there, the scar looked like more of a sunburn. But here, it does look a lot better than that. But I think the scar could have been more brutal than it ended up being. Especially since this show is gonna, I think, will be darker than the anime series. According to IMDb, it is rated TV 14, but that's just what IMDb says. Maybe when the show comes out, we'll find out its official rating. I hope it is TV 14, but that is something we shall see when the show comes out. If you ask me what my favorite of the four posters are, I would go with with Guitaras. The effects looks really good. It does look like Guitara is ready to fight and protect her village and the Water Tribe, which is more of the Water Tribe that we're going to be seeing. But overall, this looks really good. I'm hoping that the show turns out really good. It comes out next month. In preparation, I will be revisiting Avatar: The Last Airbender at some point right before the show comes out, and I will give you my thoughts of how it holds up prior to the show. And but yeah, these are my thoughts of the new information that came out. Let me know what you guys think of the new details that we heard from the showrunners, and on top of that, let me know what you guys think of the four posters. Which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? And if you guys like what you guys see here, please like the video, and comment below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And we shall talk next time. Entertainment Angel out.